All right. Welcome back. All right. Let's take a look and see. Back. One more. What's up, non-fam? How's it going? Just gonna get to the group really quick. Printing. What's up, Dan? Yeah, the puppers are around here somewhere. Uh, let's pin the featured. I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty good. I finally went and had some starting consultation for ADHD, basically, or whatever I may have. Because obviously, I know I have something. I'm pretty sure it is ADHD, but I was never diagnosed. And so today, I finally took the step and saw somebody about it. And Monday, I'll go and see what's going on, and um, we'll go from there. It's going to be a little bit of a process because the tests take a little while for a proper turnaround and everything. So, uh, yeah, exactly, and that's basically where I'm at right now. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's what I have. There's a lot of signs that point to it that are very specific to ADHD. Because I mean, if you really look at ADHD, there's a lot of like anxiety, depression, and autism. Like ADHD is kind of like a lot of stuff rolled into one. So I mean, you can be like on the edge of ADHD, but you could also be something completely different and misdiagnosed basically. So I want to try and at least put my foot out there, see how it goes, and see if maybe we could get some medication to help focus a little bit more. Because I'll be honest, there's days where I'm just sitting here and I'm like, hey, I have this review. I basically have like 5 reviews I need to get done, and it's just like I sit down, have the want to do it, but my body is just like I'm not going to. So um, yeah, and that's the other thing. Like I'm expecting to have some peaks and boundaries for that type of stuff. So, but I mean, it's just like it's getting to the point where it's affecting things. Like case in point. Okay, so I did a giveaway a long time ago for a 3D printer. I forgot even what 3D printer I gave away. But anyway, basically, I gave it away, and the second winner was Stephen Poole. You guys know him, and his daughter. His daughter won something, and I'm just now got it boxed up. I'm going to create a shipping label any second now. So, um, so yeah, I don't know what I have. We're just gonna kind of let it sit there and basically go from there. So, but definitely, definitely something. So we'll find out soon enough in the next couple months. So that'll be I guess a weight lifted off my shoulders because it's not. I think it's more or less the gratification of like I now know whatever it is I have, even though I'm pretty certain about what I do have. But again, there's other aspects of like my emotional state that cue on the spectrum of autism. So a lot of times, and I know mood swings, happen with everybody, but mine seem to be a little bit more extreme on a lot of states. So, but either way, what's up, Henry? How's it going, bud? I've been diagnosed with ADD a couple of years ago. It helps to know what the problem. Yeah, exactly, and that's basically where I'm stepping at right now. Medication is not my top priority, but if it helps focus, okay. I'll take anything just to give it a shot and see where we go from there. But that's also my worrisome because I've heard terrible horror stories where people were given the wrong medication and they spent years on it and thought that they were okay and they weren't, and then they got the right medication, and things just were completely different in their lives. So that's why medication is not my top priority, but it's something that I finally just want to look into, see what's going on. So, oh, I see a cat. Yeah, she lingers around here. This is her eminent domain. So usually she stays away from the printers. Ever since I basically redid the print farm, she's stayed out of it. Usually she used to jump in between printers and things like that, but it's been pretty good. So, yep, I do that all the time. I need to get back on my meds and stay on them. The last few months have been an issue for me. Yeah, and then that's the other side of that is like I'm not very good at like a new routine. It's kind of like teaching an old dog new tricks type thing. I'm almost 40, so getting another routine in my daily life is kind of hard. But anyway, that's enough about me. I think you guys have heard enough. Live chat. Let's see if we can mute this. I think I can. For some reason, it's not picking up that stuff. For some reason, it's not picking up. Oh no, there we go. Okay, now we're good. All right. Sure. All right, so yeah, I'm just kind of chilling here. I'll be doing a little work here and there, but obviously, with what I've been talking about, I'll probably more or less focus on you guys because, well, tunnel vision and yeah, that's kind of rabbit hole-ish type thing that happens. What's up, Kieran? How's it going, bud? What's up, TK? Have you tried that She2 Box Tough Resin yet? I have not gotten to it. I'm just now getting into the rich Opto resin that was sent to me. I have a couple of these bottles I need to check out before I get to the She2 Box. So I do have the review to do on the Calent S400. So maybe we'll break that out and get the tough resin. But the downside to that is I hate tuning that because it's old tech, and I'm now so used to the newer tech where your print times are 1 to 3 seconds, and that thing's like 6 to 12 seconds depending on the day that it's going to have. So yeah, it basically is an issue. Block user. Yeah, we're gonna block that. Yeah, I banned him, TK. Thank you. Sorry. I'm just seeing that now. What's up, Jerry? How's it going, bud? Living the dream. It's thick stuff like custard, even when warm. Huh. Well, let's take a look. It's tough resin, you said. So let's take a look and see if there's any specs on the box here. Conjure Tough. It probably won't have anything, but so I got gray, 500 grams, and it says shake well before use, wear face mask, get out of there. Hazardous to the aquatic environment, may cause skin or eye irritation, wear safety gloves. So typical stuff, nothing out of the ordinary, just that it's tough. So I'm trying to think. Tough resin usually is like ABS like. It's not really much different than ABS, or at least it shouldn't be. It doesn't feel like thick when I'm holding it. So I don't know. I'll have to see. Um, let's see here. Hey Akuma Mods, what printer am I supposed to take off your hangs? So it's hidden in the back there. It is a BQ B1 SE Plus. And that would be, my wife would love you, because now we have a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox One, and or an Xbox X. I haven't even plugged in the Xbox X because there's a printer in the way. So I'm running out of room. So just getting over food poisoning, suffered for 3 days. I've definitely been down that path, and it is not fun. I feel your pain. TK, yeah. I was using 40 base and 2.5 seconds on the Mono 4K. So the Mono 4K is a very interesting machine. So it's one of the few machines. In fact, pretty much all the Anycubics, I believe, are across the board like that. At least the newer ones. Now, I haven't touched the newer ones, so I can only speak with what I've heard and seen on the groups, because I'm still part of the groups, just in case, Anycubic wants to work with me on that. And basically, I see a lot of times where it seems like the UV is overpowered, so people tune down the UV array, which is kind of strange to me, because it's like, why do you make a printer so powerful that it's too powerful? I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just kind of redundant to do that. Why should I have to tune a machine like that besides tuning the resin and just shoot and go? Like, there should be no reason for it. But again, there might be something that I'm missing, some reason behind it that I'm not really sure about. So but that might be another issue, is that you might have to tune down the UV power. So again, I'm very little about that, because none of my other printers need that type of stuff. Like, I've heard people talk about it on this machine, and I don't do that. It's all or nothing. Like, again, there's no reason why I should be detuning a printer, dumbing it down, basically. That's kind of like saying, hey, I bought a Dodge Charger Hellcat Demon or whatever, and I basically have to turn the boost down, if it's supercharged or whatever. So, but yeah. But it prints nice. Okay. Well, that's good. I think we have another round of COVID here. Who, me? I hope not. I'm just kind of nasally because it's cold. Basically, if it drops under 70, I'm terrible. I'm like a really old man. So, it has a fair bit of flex. That's right, So it would be. It would be, because now that you mention it, ABS has a little bit of flex. I want to say ABS resin usually has about 10% of flex. So take, for example, a normal standard resin, and then you have Soraya Tech Tenacious. Tenacious is basically like an elastic style resin. And Jamhee's elastic resins are very, very, what is the term? Viscous? Is that? Or is viscous runny? Either way, it's very sticky and very gloopy. And that's right, because this is made by Jamhee, and I have their elastic stuff, the stuff that is ridiculous, and that stuff is very, very gloopy. So that does make sense that it's not thinned out, because it's a tough resin, so it's like a 50-50 mixture of standard resin and an elastic resin. So, God, that was back years ago when I helped them tune that. That was great. Good times. Sorry to hear that. Oh, you're talking about you. Ideal for guys printing miniatures for gaming. Yeah, so with that being said, the best resin that I've used for like flexible stuff, and I've shown this off a couple times, is this resin. This is made by QTS. It's a little bit less of a known brand, but it is available on like AliExpress and Overhang Labs. My buddy Shao gave me this resin to show off, and I didn't know it was a model resin. It's model specific. And the reason for that is because it has some flexibility in it. Now, what's cool is this was printed on the Mega, okay? So this is a lithophane. As you can see, it looks warped. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because it's flexible. Oh, it finally broke. It finally broke. It finally broke. But anyway, it's flexible. So that's why. It finally broke. I was waiting for that to happen. Right in my face, of course. But it finally broke. That was a clean cut. No, I can't flex that part. Oops. Yeah, but that's what I always tell people, like this is super flexible. And it's not that thick. So, you know, what, it's probably like 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters. Almost took an eye out. Again, yeah, that would have been nice. Did it cut me? Oh, it totally did. That's what I get for showing off again. So it's 5 millimeters. Hey, welcome to Bloopers with your host, Matt, that loves to, you know, destroy himself when it comes to resin printing. So, anyway. So yeah, basically this is 5 millimeters thick, and you can see it's got quite a lot of flex. I've probably flexed that thing like 20, 30 times, so I'm amazed that it even lasted that long. So, I was close to smash your face in. Yep. I had my eye taken out, was caught on a branch that went back into my face. Yeah, I have an issue with clothes racks, because when I was little, I was running through and one blasted me right in the eye. And yeah, that's basically where I'm at. But yeah, it nicked me. It nicked my my nose there. See it? That's lovely. I've had my but it does have quite a bit of flex. So it used to flex a lot better, but I guess it finally had its time. So, but a good amount. So if you're definitely printing miniatures with this stuff, yeah, you definitely have a good time. So finally done with that litho. Sucks. Oh well. I guess I could just glue that back together. I don't really have to throw it out. That's the one nice thing about resin, is I can literally just take, I have a little paintbrush. You guys can just see it right there at that little yellow one right here. Brush it on and literally mold it back together. Obviously, I won't be able to flex it anymore, but yeah. Not the first time resin prints of blood had drawn blood. Given my share fare. Yeah, my hands, like, I always hate taking off stuff that's super, like knives and things like that, things that have really sharp edges on resin prints, because I know right away it's going right through my glove, and I'm automatically going to have my hands cut up. In fact, you know, you can see there's a couple nicks on my fingers right there from the stuff I took off last night. So, so yeah, I mean that's just, it comes with the territory. So, but yeah, I'm sure I'll hear about that. Oh yeah, not wearing your glasses again. That was a fluke. But anyway, doing pretty good so far. Who is that? Ah, Henry. Okay. I'm just worried that this is not coming through. I don't know why. Okay, it is. All right. Just very strange. Is everything good? You guys good? It just seems like chat just died all of a sudden. Everybody's still in shock from it blasting me in the face. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it for right now. I have, oh no, might have to reprint. Yeah, just cleaning prints. Have my hands full. I'm good. Okay. Now it just seemed like chat died really quick, so I was like, "What's going on here?" Um, Reminds me of a guy I was watching on a wood lathe explaining how important it is to wear a full face visor. He was carving some wood, lifted his mask, and bang, the wood exploded. Yep. Thanks, Kieran. That's very helpful. I'll put that on my TikTok. Make sure you wear your safety glasses. Yeah, they're only literally like 2 feet away from me. But I'll be honest, I was not expecting that. That was some flexible resin, so I was not expecting it to crack at all. But I guess that's why you wear safety stuff, to expect the unexpected. So shame on me times two. What is that? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But hey, everybody learns. There you go. All right, so what do we got on the block today? Gonna get some stuff. Running low on gloves here. Did a little bit of cleaning today, so all right, have a good one, TK. Thanks for popping in, bud, and watching my disaster of a live stream. Never a dull moment. Jason, what's up, man? Yeah, taco and nest pie. That's funny that you mention it because I'm still very much into the retro flag community. I still deal with the retro flag um, GPI case, which I got to start working on this. This is the GPI case 2. I'll start working on buttons and everything, and I got to finally roll out buttons for the GPI case, the original, because that hasn't been in production for like 2 years now. But yeah, good times, man. I was tempted to go and get some tacos right now, but I think I'm good for the day. So Matt, will you get a CR scan lizard for review? A few people seem to have received it. Do you do much scanning? I haven't done much scanning. In fact, I have my Revo Point scanner right here, the Pop 1, and it works okay. I had somebody send me off some parts that they wanted re-engineered, basically. And the issue is because they're blue and black and basically multicolored, and they're not white, it doesn't pick it up very well. Especially like, okay, if you have a part that's like this, it'll scan the front part, but it won't get the back. So like if there's nubs in here that you screw together, basically, it won't get the insides very well. So that's the issue that I'm seeing. But again, I think it's more or less a coloring issue with the model itself. I seem to see that quite a lot. But for CR scanner, nobody's contacted me about it. I know one of my buddies, Ray, has got one in the Netherlands. I believe he's talked to you about it. Um, but he said it's done very, very well. I'm still kind of skeptical about it because Creality tends to take a very good product and want their way of the product and just basically lose it all. So we'll have to see about that. But that's my 2 cents on the CR scanner until I actually see it and it actually work. Because like I don't know if you guys were on the stream when I did the unboxing of the Revo Point. Like that was really really cool. I definitely did not expect anything spectacular from it, and it was far superior than what I even thought of it as. And I'd show you guys right now, like I plug it in, but the problem is there's an issue with the camera that I'm using right now because it uses a HDMI USB like splitter thing and basically a capture card. And for some reason, the Revo Point scanner does not like to talk with the inputs on it, so it kind of goes a little wonky. So I can't plug it in. Otherwise, I'd show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Like I can scan a gray piece, basically like solid colors. It does pretty well. I haven't tested anything that's like a bright solid color, like something like this thing for my son that's gold. Looks yellow, but it's kind of in between. So, but yeah, I kind of like the pop scanner because it's really small. You can use it with a phone or you can use it with a PC, so that's really really nice. Considering I have an extra phone that's just out of shot here, and I usually use that for like my TikTok lives, which I should probably put that up on live, but whatever. Let's see. I have to see that up on the Twitter. Let's see here. Yeah, I haven't done any really reviews on it. I've used it very little. I just haven't had time. So I haven't used it like I should. I should eventually get a handheld. Yeah, the GPI case too is awesome, but the issue is trying to find a Raspberry Pi right now is almost impossible. And if you do find one, they are exponentially expensive, like ridiculous, like $100 plus over retail, just because of the chip shortage and production shortage and all kinds of stuff. So it's not very good right now to purchase anything or tinker with anything that has to do with a Raspberry Pi unless you got one lying around. So, but yeah. Yeah, just have to see more reviews. Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't even looked at the reviews on the CR scan. Again, I know they had a Revo Point style scanner, and it was an absolute disaster. It probably would be just as good as the Revo Point if you utilized the Revo Point software with it. But with the Creality software, it's not good at all. So. Yeah, exactly. Glad you have a couple of Pi 4s available. I have random boards around. Like I have a CM3. This is basically a Raspberry Pi 3 in the form of a stick. Um, I have a brand new 8 gig 4 Pi 4. That's for projects. I have what I usually do, a slim down Pi 3B, I think this is. Might be a B plus. No, it's a B. So this is an old school B3. So an original Raspberry Pi B3. And what else? I got a couple. This one I think is a Pi. Yeah, this is a Pi 3B plus. So that one's good. I think that actually has a bad video out, if I'm not mistaken. I got a handful of Pi Zeros in there, a Pi Zero 2, and then I have some CM4s, which are basically Raspberry Pi 4s, in the palm of your hand. And they're even smaller than this when you open it. So, but that's for that specific system. So, oh my, I have a Pi 3 that I don't know how to tinker with. I got my whole setup from you after I won a free Pi or something. The extra Pi I have came when I bought some 1UP. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, they're pretty easy to tinker with. Nowadays, the flashing part of it is just super simple. You just go on the Raspberry Pi .org website and you can just go ahead and flash software to it. I mean, you can even use it as a computer. It's very simple and straightforward. So. Yeah. I think that's salvageable, but that other one is not. So. Well, that one's not salvageable. I mean, it kind of is. I guess I can clean it up and take a look at it. But as you can see, it bowed quite a bit on that side. And I probably should throw this in Shitu box and hollow it out because this is a solid piece and that takes up a lot of resin. So that's one of the reasons why it kind of came up, because I was trying to be ballsy on it. And this one came up a little bit too, but it's not as severe. So this one's probably salvageable, but you guys can probably see what that's going to be. And unfortunately, because I ran out of resin, I had to switch colors. So the colors are just slightly off, and it really annoys me. But maybe we'll throw some spray paint on it and call it a day once we get it all set up. But basically, you can kind of see a slight difference in color. Maybe not on this light, but it's just ever so slightly different. Like, this is the newer stuff. This is the original stuff that came with that. So, close, but no cigar. Just to rub it in, currently 43 degrees Celsius outside. Wow. So what? That's kind of cold, isn't it? I don't even know what Celsius it is. It's like 30 degrees outside, I think. Fahrenheit. You know, in freedom points. Or free. I enjoy the plug and play from you. Appreciate it. I plan on using it more once my room is set up. Take care, buddy. All right, Jason. Thanks for stopping in, and yeah, hope you enjoy it. It's been a long time since I've done one of those systems, but that basically is why I'm here as well. So I kind of have that attributed to it. So 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Really? Oh, that's right. That's right. Because zero for you is 30 degrees here. So yeah, that's hot. And what, Kieran? You're in Australia, right? Are you in like the north or the south? Is it your guys' summer? So you guys had polar opposites to us? Yeah, that's hot as hell. Like, if we get up to 100, that's pretty hot. Hi, Evie. Western Australia. Okay, so you're in the indigenous parts. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're in the parts where you wake up and you have little friends everywhere, crawling around in your bed. All right, let's see how this came out. That came out spectacular. So this is a bridge. Oh my God, it's Steve. So this is a bridge. This is a two-part print that we're going to be doing for it's Spirited Away. This is the bridge from Spirited Away, and then Haku's going to go on there. I got to start cleaning up my prints here. Yeah, I did break it. You missed it earlier, Steve. I literally broke a print, and it blasted me right in the face. Safety first, you know? Currently clearing out my hot end. I'm getting really bad filament drag. So I would check your filaments to see if it's correct. Check the diameter of your filament. I can't tell you how many times people, they keep buying the same filament over and over and over again, but just like anything that's mass produced, things change on a daily basis, a weekly basis, an hourly basis. So I can literally buy 3 rolls of filament on the same exact day from Amazon, and all 3 of them can have different things done to them. So not as bad as the 3D printer scraper to the face that happened to me. That does not sound like fun. But I don't know if you can see right there on my nose. I'm not going to touch it. I broke a lithophane in half that was flexible, and apparently it finally gave up. And yeah, it nicked me in the nose and split into 3 pieces. So yeah, prints are looking good. I'm kind of I've gotten everything down pat. I mean, I use enough resin printers. I would think I know what I'm doing at this point. I would hope. Not saying that I don't have failures. Case in point, that one right there that kind of failed. But that's due mostly to weight. Probably a combination of it being cold here too, because again, I have the heater going right behind me. You guys can just see it right above the tag here, right here. It's a little tower fan that's probably about this tall, and I don't keep it on all the time. It's got an auto shut off. So it could have been a combination of heat or no heat, lack thereof, and weight. So it's probably the combination of the two, because that probably weighs a good like 2.5 pounds, that print, and it's only about the size of my palm. So it's a beefy boy. So let's see. Cooler to run out to the Devil Land. Staying out. Was filament I previously running on my other machine yesterday, and it was running just fine. But here's the thing, I've had that happen. So as some of you guys may or may not know, I've worked for a 3D printing company called TH 3D Studio, and we ran a print farm. And I couldn't tell you how many times where we had to switch manufacturers, because one day we would just be running prints, they'd be running, and then just in the middle of the spool, there would be like a piece that was tied together, basically. We had that happen once. There was a piece where it went from 1.75 millimeter to like 2, and then back down to 1.75. So it basically had a big, huge gap in it. Not a gap, but a big piece in it. And then there's other times where it was just slightly over. So, if the extruder was set too tight, it would just grind it away and you would just get shavings everywhere. So, I mean, it can happen at any point in time. It can happen at the beginning of the spool, the middle of the spool, the end of the spool. It don't matter. I've had it happen in various places. No filament is going to be identical. And again, that's the same thing like I talk about resin. Everybody's like, oh, well, I just use the stock settings. Yeah, you could probably get away with stock settings on a resin printer, but, you should really tune the profile for that specific resin. Even though I have 3 bottles of frozen 8K resin here, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to print at the same exact exposure time. They might be able to, but the thing is one of them might actually need to be bumped up 0.2 seconds. So let's say they all are supposed to be printing at 2 seconds. So one of the bottles can print a little bit better, more, and give you more detail at 2.2, and then the next bottle can be 1.5. So there's variations like that happen all the time, and people just don't understand, like, why do I have failed prints? Like, that could also be an exposure thing. Like, I know that it's not an exposure because, well, I did a test print for it. So I know for sure that that is not an exposure problem. And I do that with literally anytime I change out resins or anything like that, I automatically run an exposure print. And I'm usually pretty spot on for the first try. It used to be where I'd be like 5 or 6 times I get it. And then, I go ahead and start printing. Nowadays, it's like 1 to 3 times maximum that I have to run a print. Unless it's this thing, because this is older technology, and that thing's got such a range on it, it is not even funny. Like I said earlier, it can go anywhere from 6 to 12 seconds on normal resin. That's normal layers. The base layer, I usually leave it at like 55 or 60, depending on what I'm printing. So, but yeah, this one was tuned out, and I probably should have turned it up a little bit because it was a tad bit down, that I can tell, but I just let it fly. So, but that could also been the reason why that didn't come out all that great, because I could have been 0.2 seconds off. So again, literally any little thing can happen when it comes to printers. So, and that's with filament printers, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, with filament printers, it can be a ton of different things, and it's one of the reasons why I don't really utilize FDM printers anymore, is because you can have a clog, and it can be caused by a long laundry list of things wrong with the printer. I mean, it can be the power supply is not good enough. So that means that the motor is bad, or the motor's not getting enough power to it. The driver's going out on the motherboard, causing the motor not to work properly or have the right voltage. The extruder could be too tight or too loose. The gears can be slipping a little bit. They're not tightened down all the way. That happens all the time. I see that. People just don't catch it because you're not looking for that. The Bowden tube could have different specs throughout the entire Bowden tube. A lot of times Capricorn has that happen. Capricorn is known for that issue. And I tell people that all the time, and they just don't want to listen because they think that Capricorn is like the end-all be-all of PTFE tubes, and it's not. They have a lot of quality control issues, and have for a long time. Basically, ever since they got to that like stardom level, their QC has kind of gone downhill. It's the same thing that happened with like Creality and Elegoo and a lot of companies, where they hit that stardom, and it's just like, we're just going to keep producing things, and if something happens, we'll deal with it afterwards. So, but with like resin printing, it's very few things. Usually the boards never ever have an issue. I've never seen a resin printer have a board issue unless it's Elegoo. And that's usually a blown MOSFET, because they use lower quality MOSFETs on their Elegoo Saturn to save money. And usually with resin printers, there's usually only 2 or 3 things that can cause an issue. And 9 times out of 10, it's a user error type thing. So that's why I kind of like resin printing, is because it doesn't necessarily make me want to learn, but I I know that I messed up if something is like that. Like that most likely is my mess up. I can't confirm it, but it's going to probably be. With it being not enough heat on it, which I should have had the heater right next to it. So again, user error. I was just talking about how the exposure setting, it came out, but it was still a little bit off. So I probably could have exposed it up a little bit. So that could have been the fault of it. Again, user error. Leveling, I'm pretty sure is good on that, but who knows? That could be off. But other than that, the machine itself is a solid machine. You can see all the other prints came out perfectly fine. So, yeah. So many variables with 3D printing. Absolutely. 3D printing and specifically FDM has so many variables that can go wrong. And that's what I'm tired of, where it can be something so simple and you don't know until you systematically break it down. Now, for someone like me, I'm okay doing that because that's usually how I find and fix things, is I systematically break things down. But for a lot of people, that just doesn't come naturally, or they just don't know how to do that, because to them it's a machine and that's all they see it as. So yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love my FDM printers, but my resin printers are so much easier to work with. Absolutely agree, 100%. Resin printers are literally, you take them out of the box, and even if you run a profile that is not right for the resin that you have, you're probably still going to get some sort of a print out of it. And if you contact me right away, or I see you on the groups, I can tell you right away what's usually wrong with the prints. Like, I've been doing this for what, 3 years now? So I mean, it's come a long way, and I've had well over 30 some odd machines in my possession. And I still got, 2 more behind me that I got on box, and many more to come. So yeah. Do I still got my Ender? No, that thing's been long gone. I sold that a long time ago. That was probably my first printer that I got rid of. But I do have an Ender here. It's only purchased because I had a project with Weebox, and it went terribly wrong. And yeah. But anyway, I unboxed the Ender 3, and it was a disaster right out of the box yet again. So in typical Creality fashion, yeah, I'm good. So I just took the hit and let it be. And I do have the possibility of getting an Ender belt kit to turn it into a belt printer. So if that happens, that's the only reason why I'm keeping it around. Otherwise, it would have been gone about a month and a half ago. So cool. Awesome. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hi, Kumamods and printing friends. I see I'm not the only one up late. I'm always up late. Always have been. Probably always will be. Especially on the weekend, because I don't have anything else better to do with my life. So, oh, you should be sleeping. Yeah, tell my brain that. Tell them how to systematically break it down. This is the information people need. I can. So, I guess I could pull out a printer. Give me 1 second. Let me. I think we're done here. I don't need these gloves. We're all good. So I can remove these because I'm not going to clean those up right now. All right. So let me grab a printer, an FDM printer, which I am currently working on a review for, which you guys will see. This is a fantastic printer. This is called the Mingda Magician X. And for some of you, you guys probably see it and think that, hey, that looks a lot like the Creality Ender 3S1. Well, the same company that makes these printers, well, they make the Creality S1 for Creality. So they're all based off of the same one. The Focus Odin is based off of the same thing. So anyway, let's say we have a clogged nozzle, okay? Now, again, there could be several different things that can go wrong here. With direct drive, it's a little bit easier to diagnose because everything's right here. So let's pretend that this actually has an extruder on the back, okay? And I'll try and explain it as best as I can. So what I'm going to do, if I have a clog nozzle, is I'm going to look and see right away if there is an actual clog or if it's a bed leveling issue. 9 times out of 10, when I see people post something on the group here um, of their extruder skipping, like where it goes tung, 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 like that, usually what that means is that it's too close to the bed, which causes the nozzle to clog because there's not enough filament going out. And that's basically what's happening. So you end up causing a bigger clog here. And then sometimes people just try and pull it out and it gets clogged up in here. I do that all the time, especially with direct drive, because direct drive, it's a little more tricky because it's directly into the heat break. But that's what I would basically do is go from here. My first instinct would be set the temperatures to like PETG temperatures, like 240, and manually push the filament through. And if you're using a Bowden, I would definitely open up the extruder. So like, let's say this is a Bowden setup. This would be your extruder. And I'd literally push it down to see if it comes out. And it should come out pretty easily because at 240, PLA pretty much breaks down. Like anything over 225, PLA literally is like liquid. So at 240, you can go ahead and manually press this down. And once it starts coming out straight, you're good. If it's not coming out straight, you still want to try and jam it in there and push out as hard and as fast as you can to try and push that clog out. That's how I get clogs out. There are another way where you can remove the filament and you can push some printers come with these like acupuncture needles. You can utilize that too. I personally don't use those. Again, I just use the heat it up to 240 method and kind of go from there. But if that's not working and there's something else, like I can feel it clogging up on the extruder on the back here, I know that the hot end is not the issue, that it's actually the extruder or the Bowden tube on it. And at that point, you're going to want to remove the couplers on both sides of it and see if you can push the filament through that side. An easy one to do is just to remove the coupler from the hot end side and see if you can try and push it through. And if you can, okay, then you're all right. Then you might have something stuck right where the Bowden tube meets the hot end. That's another major issue, especially with the Ender 3 printers, or the Creality blocks, the regular blocks. They have an issue there. And there's actually a PTFE fix by Luke Hatfield, or One Bad Marine, on Thingiverse, and that'll let you properly seat the PTFE tube into the heat break of the Creality machines, and it basically makes your printing experience a whole heck of a lot better. I just realized this is really loose. So we got to tighten this up. And that's another thing I see people, they see like this is wiggly. This is pretty wiggly. So I'm going to have to grab my wrench. But there's 2 wheels here, and then there's a single wheel on the bottom here. And usually that has what's called an eccentric nut. Basically, it's a nut. And all you have to do is just slightly tighten it up, and this'll tighten up. And then you kind of wiggle it a little bit just to make sure your tension is good. And then you want to move it back and forth just to make sure everything's good. Because if you over tighten it, you'll know right away because it'll start like binding and skipping, and you don't want that. Now, when you move this stuff, you want to move them back and forth really slow, because if you do it really fast, you're going to energize the system, and you could possibly blow up the board. So always be careful when you're doing that. So heat and speed curve and how they balance is unwritten, only gained by experience. That is probably more true than anything, because it's really going to vary from printer to printer. And I literally mean that because your ambient temperatures are going to affect everything. Every printer, every filament, every fan is going to be different. So your fans play a big role in keeping the heat to a specific degree. And if I have a brand new machine that has a slightly okay fan. Like it works, it seems like it's working, but it's just kind of like hiccuping. I won't notice that, and that'll happen. So whereas somebody else might have one that's fully working, or someone that doesn't have one that's working, and they don't even realize it because they don't know nothing about the machine and that it has to turn on at a certain point. So there's a lot of different things that can go wrong. Again, with an FDM printer that just make your day a lot worse. Like a simple fan going out, your hot end fan that blows on the hot end and the heat break and everything. If that is not working 100% of what it should be, that can cause so many issues, and it's so hard to track that down. Like you literally have to sit there and watch it and verify that it's going at the speed that it's supposed to. Like that is the hardest thing to track down. So I can't get any PLA to lay and print. I tried so many times, bed heated at 70, 230 head, just clogs and a mess. So first off, that is way too hot for PLA. PLA's maximum temperature should be 225, and that's even going to the highest. Like if you're printing at 225, it should be some sort of a specialty type filament, like a silk filament. That usually prints pretty well at a higher temperature, I've seen. Some of them do print at lower, but I've always had good experience printing silk at 225. But I will never ever go that high, higher than that. And the reason being is PLA, I believe, starts breaking down at 230, or maybe it's 235. I forget. But at that point, you're going to start having some issues and clogging, and that's exactly what you're experiencing. As for laying down, I know this is like beating a dead horse, but leveling your bed is not as easy as it seems. Now, I do have a video on my YouTube channel if you'd like to go and check it out. It's youtube.com/Akuma Mods. And I have a pretty basic leveling video on how to do that. Now, the other thing that a lot of people kind of learn to do, and I've learned just doing it so many times, is live leveling. So what I usually suggest to anybody is level your bed or what you think is level. And then once it starts printing, level it while it's printing. That means turn your knobs and everything like that. So the best thing to do is to figure out how that's laying down. So if you see the filament starting to drag and the nozzle's like not hitting the bed or it's not sticking to the bed, that means you're too far away from the bed. Now, with that being said, a lot of the Creality machines have warped centers in their bed. So you can be good on all four corners, but the one step that everybody misses is the center point. And that is so hard to get right, especially on the lower quality machines, because that happens so often on them. Now, the other thing is a lot of people tend to go and get like a Creality glass bed, and Creality's glass beds are not much better. Go and get a mirror, something that is not Creality branded. Get anything besides Creality branded stuff. They use like the lowest quality, and I'm not trying to just rip on Creality. Everybody kind of knows like Creality is the lowest of the low quality, and their glass beds are probably the worst in the industry that I've seen. I personally don't like glass beds. I like flexible PEI sheets. That's what I have on my Anycubic Viper. That's basically my go-to machine. But again, this one's here just because we're doing a review. We're testing it out. This thing has auto leveling on it already, so I don't have to worry about ever leveling. So much so that it doesn't even have feet to level it, actually. Everything's done by these switches on the side here. So that basically levels it out. But that's one thing that I see people struggle with all the time is they think that their bed is leveled, and it's leveled in the corners, but not leveled on the center of the bed. So another thing that I always suggest is do the 4 points on the corners, and then go inside and do 4 points, and then do a center. So basically you want to take like a box and level it at 4 corners inside of a smaller box, and then level the center and see if that works. Now, to fix an issue with a warped bed, you can prop it up using some tape. Painter's tape works very well, but you got to be careful putting on however many layers on that because you don't want it too bowed out because then you'll have issues where your edges are not level. Now, it might be easier to level out your edges while you're printing and just, deal with the bow that you basically made in the center there. You can go ahead and do that, but yeah, that's something that I see people struggle with and ask about constantly. It's like, my stuff is not laying down, and you tell them that it's probably because your bed is not leveled, and they think that it is leveled because in actuality the corners are leveled, but the center is not. So that happens all the time, and people get very frustrated with it, and it's hard to tell because usually people just say just level your bed. They don't tell them exactly how to level it, and that kind of gets discouraging for people who have no idea what they're doing on these systems. So these are very, very cheap systems. A lot of people get them and they just don't understand that they are a machine come at the end of the day. So um, let's see. Looks like bubblegum stuff to the head every time, and I do 220 and 60 on the bed. Also, no matter what bubble gum. Okay. So I would print at like 210, 215. That usually seems to be the sweet spot for most PLAs. And 60 on the bed seems to be okay. That's about as high as you really want to go. To be in all honesty, you can get away without having any heat on the bed, but some people, like to have that extra adhesion. Another thing that I always like to have around to promote adhesion is wherever it may be, it's sitting over there, but hairspray, not glue, hairspray, because you put it on, then you set your bed and your hot end to heat, and it'll basically heat and make your bed all tacky. And what's great over glue is glue gives you like peaks and boundaries on your bed. Now, granted, you can clean that off every single time, but with hairspray, I can spray that on probably 40, 50 times and not ever have to wipe away my bed because once it sticks the print to the bed, it's going to pull it off. So it comes off with the print, unlike some glues. So I always suggest that too if you're worried about it. And people can rat on you for using promotion adhesion and stuff. That's fine. Let them do that. Okay. I say if it helps you, go ahead and do it. Okay. I just personally don't like the glue. I use hairspray. It's your choice though. Clean the bed. I've seen a lot of times it's dusty. Clean with glass cleaner. I'll be honest. This is dirty as hell. As you can probably see from the screen here, there's cat hair, dog hair because the dogs are here. I will literally print on this. I will put as much dust as I possibly can on this thing, and I will still print on this to semi-prove that wrong. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you should never have to clean your bed. You should. It probably will help, but it's not a necessity for the most part. I've been in print farms where literally the bed has never ever been cleaned in the 3 years that it's been printing, and it's perfectly fine. And there's dust and shit all over the box that it's in. So so I don't think that that's always a 100% proof thing. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have a clean bed. So the one I can't get to print is the Anycubic i3 Mega, but my Makerbot Replicator 2 works like a dream. Just hard to get Petg to stick to the bed. Tried hairspray and blue tape. So, if I'm not mistaken, the Anycubic i3 has these textured glass beds. So, with that, you definitely want an adhesion promoter on it, like hairspray or glue, because Petg will literally bond to the glass. It'll also bond to PEI as well. So, you want something to be in the middle of that, but still have it sticky. So, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people where they're like, yeah, I printed PETG on my glass bed, no problem. That's great. But one of those days, you're going to go ahead and pull that print off, and little pieces of the glass are going to come right with it. And sure enough, I see not even 6 months down the road, that's what happened. So again, it's not going to be automatically an issue with it, but it will happen at some point. Okay, it could be a year down the line. I don't know. But every single time that somebody says, "Oh, I don't use anything with PETG and I use PEI or glass," they've always had some sort of problem sometime down the road. So it always happens. So um, let's see. Great channel. Have a good evening. Thank you, Michael. I use hairspray on mine. See, exactly. Hairspray seems to work good, way better than tape. Yeah, I used to use tape back when I first started with my disaster of an ANET printer, and it seemed to work a little bit, but then the problem happened where tape overlay or tape gaps would come out on the bottom of the prints, and I just didn't want that. So, what do you think is better, say, stronger PLA or PETG? PLA has its limitations, especially when it comes to heat. So PETG is going to be a step above. So in terms of long-lasting, heat-resistant, or should I say more or less like environment resistant, and again, all these are going to be semi environment resistant to an extent. It's going to be like PLA, PETG. Well, it's probably PLA, TPU. It's kind of like in between there. Then PETG, and then ABS, and then you go on to like polycarbonate, nylon, carbon fiber, things like that. So brings back memories. 3 day build, 2 hour build. Yep, I remember that, and I was literally tell people that all the time. Like, when they ask me what my first 3D printer was, and I'm like, oh man, I spent 3 live streams and God knows how many hours, at least 9 hours, I want to say, building a printer. And here's my buddy printing literally on the first one in what, less than like 20 minutes of the stream. And I'm just like, so using on man toys, someone said nylon. Yeah, so if you're using something that requires a lot of force, absolutely nylon or polycarbonate. They do require a little bit of a better machine. You can't print that stuff on a stock ender. Okay, you usually have to upgrade like the hot end at some point or parts in the hot end. And the same kind of goes with ABS. Basically, if you go past PETG on a stock machine, usually you have to upgrade something, be it the extruder. The PTFE tube definitely has to be upgraded if you're switching anything beyond PLA and TPU, because stock PTFE tube, the white ones, break down at 235, I think it is. So you might be able to get away with quite a few prints on that stock PTFE, and then you'll start having issues, and you'll be like, I don't know why I'm having issues. Everything looks good. I don't have a clog. And it comes down to be your PTFE is just, it's burnt out. It's done. So that's why it's kind of nice, even though Capricorn tubing has terrible tolerances on them, it's nice that they come stock on a lot of machines out of the factory, because you can already start printing PETG right out of the factory. So whereas like pretty much any sub $250 machine, it's very rare that they will come with a blue PTFE tube or a Capricorn tubing or anything like that. So, but yeah, you should always upgrade your stuff. By the way, if anybody wants to join, you guys are free to join. And that's not what I want. I will send this off. Can I scroll this? Yes, I can scroll it. There we go. Ticker. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. Makerbot Replicator 2, pretty good. Well, I'll be honest. It's a different type of machine. They are a little bit higher end machines. They have a smaller build volume because they're made to do specific things. They're not really meant to be a hobbyist machine. As some of you may or may not know, Makerbot owns Thingiverse. Like that right there in itself is good for them. But they do make an amazing machine. It's just not everybody's machine. This is the same fight that we have, in the resin community with industrial machines versus, your typical hobbyist machines. They all do the same thing to an extent, but everybody's going to look at the price tag and be like, I'm not paying that. I can get, 2 or 3 times my machines for that price and go with like a CR10 or something like that. And yeah, you can probably get away with printing a lot of stuff, but I guarantee you will have far less failures on the MakerBot than you would 3 CR10s in its entire lifetime. Case in point, like I said, I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and I've had the Elegoo Saturn. It's a staple in the community. Everybody loves the machine. They are, fantastic machines for the price. I unfortunately had to replace more parts on that machine than I have any other parts combined in the 3 years and 30 some odd printers that I've had. So you got to take what you want. And this is why I have a hard time telling people like the differences between an Ender 3 that's upgraded and a Prusa that's upgraded. Everybody tells me, oh, well, my Ender 3 prints just as good. Now, you may think that, but do you have a Prusa to prove that? Because I'll tell you what, I had a Prusa MK2, and I had a pretty heavily modified Ender 3. And the Ender 3 had a tuned profile, like it was awesome when it wanted to print. And I had a print that had a slight detail on the inside, some inscriptions and things like that. And I had my highly tuned, modified, $300+ into an Ender 3. It was like a $700 machine at that point. And I printed the print, and it came out great. I was like happy about it. And I was like, all right, let's try and print this on the Prusa because I needed more. So I did another batch on the Ender, and I did a batch on the Prusa, and the Prusa completely stock except for a hardened steel nozzle. That's all I changed out on it because I know I wanted to print abrasive materials like glow in the dark and wood filament and marble filament and things like that. And so I ended up printing, that type of stuff out there. So I switched to a hardened steel nozzle so it wouldn't rip apart the nozzle. I can keep it on there pretty much forever. So that was the only modification to that entire machine. Now, this machine had been sitting in somebody's shop for 2.5 years, just sitting there collecting dust. Hadn't been used in 2.5 years. I took it out of the box. I did a calibration on it, and that's all I did. And it outprinted my Ender 3 right off the bat. Now, the prints looked very similar, but when you looked at like the inscription, the little detail that was on the inside, the Prusa just did it fantastically better. Same filament too. Now, granted, it could be completely different filaments because I've already talked on this point, but they were manufactured by the same company. They're the same material, same color, same everything. So, because I didn't want to have any, variables on that. So, yes, one could have been better than the other. But what I did is I ended up swapping them, thinking that, hey, maybe it is the filament. Nope. They came out exactly the same when I swapped the filaments on the machine. So, that's kind of how it went. And, the whole argument with okay, I'm going to buy an Ender 3 and I'm going to spend X amount of dollars to upgrade it. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. That's great. If you want to have the learning experience, perfect. But if you want a machine that's good and ready to go and tried and true, and will give you far less failures than any other printer that you will probably ever own, a Prusa is definitely the one. And I understand why there's such a cult following for Prusa printers and why they literally have like basically a cult for it. Like there's the Prusa guys. Like you cannot persuade them any other way. I completely understand. After owning an MK2, I was this close to buying another Prusa when I let that one go this past year. I wanted to get an MK3S Plus, I think it was, that just came out. And then Anycubic reached out to me and they're like, hey, we have the Viper, which you guys can't see. It's just out of the view there. But they were like, hey, we have this new machine, the Anycubic Viper. It's literally made by the same company who makes the Creality CR6 SE. But it's got far superior stuff on it. It's got a volcano hot end, which means that you can basically swap a huge nozzle on it and just print away. Like it's ready to rock and roll for anything that you want to throw at it with very minimal changes to it. It's got a little bit better extruder than the CR6 SE, and then obviously it's Anycubic, so the board is far superior. It's actually a good board. And then it also has a textured PEI sheet, which I absolutely love. Whereas the CR6 SE has a glass bed, which I never like those glass beds, the textured ones, the ones with the hex packs. So that's just me and my 2 cents on that. So, but that's one of the reasons why I didn't get a Prusa. Now, does that printer print like a Prusa? Not even close. But I haven't even tuned it. Like I just took it out of the box. I did a TPU profile on it really quick one day to print off some interesting prints for a fellow coworker because they wanted it. And yeah, that's about the only thing that I've ever like tuned a little bit was going on there and tuning the profile for TPU. So, and it is a Bowden setup. And yeah, I printed TPU perfectly fine. Some black TPU from Yusu Filament. So, but yeah, Makerbot is a pretty dang but good printer. Great company too. So. I really love the Anycubic Viper compared with the CR6. The Viper auto leveling is awesome. Yeah, they both have auto leveling. But yeah, the Viper is definitely a step above the CR6. Again, they are manufactured by the same company. And in my opinion, I don't think Creality really makes any printers anymore. I think really the Ender 3 and the Ender 5 are the last printers that they made. I don't think that the Ender 5 Plus is made by them. Definitely not the 6 or 7. Those are not their machines. And you can just, if you've been in around those machines long enough, you can tell that they're a different breed. And I know the argument can be said, well, maybe Creality is changing. Well, yeah, I would say that. When they first came out, I would definitely say that, Creality stepping up their game. But then you start seeing a lot of other companies that have similar machines that are like it, that are pretty much identical, just with some slight changes here and there. And basically, the one that kind of made me change my thought process of that was the CR6. Because I had the CR6 SE when it came out, and it was a great machine, probably Creality's best machine that I've ever used. And then I got the Viper, and I was like, this is literally the same exact machine. Like, same extrusion rails, same setup, motors, same way that it auto levels. It's very, very similar. It's just that the Viper has better parts on it. Now, I'm not saying they're better quality parts, but they are better to what, if you want to do any modification, the Viper automatically right out of the gate, like, all you have to do is just really swap out the nozzles on the Viper. Maybe sometime down the road upgrade the extruder, because the extruder is a little bit better than the CR6, but it's not like vastly better in any way. Maybe just a hair bit better. And I ended up giving the CR6 SE to my buddy Joseph, who is the other admin of my 3D Printing for Noobs group. And he basically printed a ton of stuff with it. And he had to replace several parts on it, but it's still working as far as I know. So, and he's had a fantastic time. But yeah, there was a little bit of a time where the Kickstarter ones would start on fire. So that was a fun time for Creality. So. Let's see what we got here. That's max. Okay. Let's go ahead and set up our next prints. Get that going. So yeah. Yeah, if anybody wants to join, there is a link right there. Obviously, I don't think you guys can click on it, but you can type it in, and you can actually join the video chat if you guys would like to. It's completely up to you. You don't have to, but if you want to chat face to face or chat to the chat, you can go ahead and do that. I'm completely open to allow anybody here, as long as they're on good behavior, obviously. So, the most disappointing printer for me in 2021, it was the Creality CR10 Smart. I hear a lot about that. And I think it's just the whole Creality is trying to mold themselves into like an Apple style of printing. And that's great and all. But they don't have the willpower to get to that point. They're still very far from it. It's kind of like we want to be at Apple now, and they're starting at Apple starting. So I guess everybody kind of has a starting point, but it's like the technology is there. They just don't know how to properly do it. And this has been the case with Creality and a lot of stuff throughout the years, where they want to stress and put something out there, and they have the ability to do it, but they want to put their own spin on it, and it just cripples the whole thing. Take, for example, their Creality resin printers. All the Hallett series printers are not made by Creality at all. The software is not even Creality. It's made by a company called Pionext. And I found that completely on accident, because one of the engineers reached out to me from Pionext and offered me to review their DLP printer. And I was like, well, it looks strikingly similar to the Creality Hallett Sky. The only difference is, instead of having all the LCD screen and everything at the bottom, everything was at the side, and it kind of looked like an iPhone that was set up on the side. And they accidentally sent me a brochure for the Hallett Sky. And I was like, is this your guys' machine? And they were like, yeah, this is ours. We're developing it for Creality. I'm like, does that mean all of the Hallett series printers that you guys are printing or designing for Creality? And they said, yes. They're all our printers. We're just rebranding them for them and changing a few things here and there. And that's basically what they did. So, but I've been struggling with them because they want me to give them advice on how to better their printer. But the problem is they want to go application-wise. That's what they're shooting for. They want to have the ability to say, all right, I'm going to grab my phone and I'm going to set a print to go, and that's it. Basically like Octopi on the go, though, anywhere in the world. You can be literally in China and set a print right here in Chicago. Like, you can go ahead and do that. But the problem is it doesn't always work that well. First off, they don't understand that you need like the servers to back that up, because you got to understand, like, if you're pushing that through your servers and everything, and you're providing an online service, you got to understand that's a big task. And they just kind of see it as like, Makerbot and Thingiverse. Like, oh, they can do that perfectly easy, no problem. It's a website based. Well, it's a little different when you involve applications and things like that. So I struggle with that all the time, and kind of bickering to them left and right that, hey, I understand you guys want to do this, um, but there's a problem with it, and it just doesn't. It's not compatible with what you guys want. Um, so there's always that wall that we can't pass or tear down. And that's basically what they're struggling at right now. And that's what happened with the CR10 Smart. Is it was supposed to be Creality's new like flagship of what we're changing the world with, and it fell horribly on its face because the framework on it and the firmware, and it was just a disaster. And literally everybody I talk to that says that they have a CR10 Smart, except for I think one person, but everybody else is just like, yeah, it's not a good machine. So, hey, I guess it all depends on what you're using it for. If you're using it for a regular machine, then all right, I don't really see that being a problem. But if you're using it for what its intended purposes are, then you're kind of not going to have that ability. So yeah, I'm surprised if there was even 6 people here. That is amazing. I think I got 1 on Facebook. Let's do. Oops, that's not what I want. That is insane. Yep, still here, still learning. Good. I'm glad. I mean, you guys can stick around. I tend to have my time where I just don't talk about things, and I'm just kind of here. So happens all the time. Let's see if this will work. I don't know if it will. We shall see. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Whoops. Dang it! I forgot how to share this. Whoopsie. Ah, and I closed it. I'm amazed that I haven't been bombarded with bots like I was the other day. I haven't been bombarded with We have talked on Jerry's 3D HP stream. I'm the disabled veteran in the wheelchair. Oh, I know who you are. I think I've seen you originally. I saw you on my buddy Tim's stream from 3D Studio, if I'm not mistaken. God, this was probably a couple of years ago now, because I haven't worked for TH3D in about 2 years now. Yeah, I'd say about that time. So, but I believe you know Tim. You've talked with him. All right, let's go ahead and put this up. And that could be why I have a stringing issue with that printer, is because it is not working right. It needs to be tightened. And there's my stuff. Yep, I do. All right, cool. Yep, I know exactly who you are. All right, so we're gonna fix this printer. So as you can kind of see, or maybe not, this is a little wobbly. Okay, so we're gonna take 10. I think it is. Yeah. So we're gonna take our 10mm wrench, and like I said, there's an eccentric nut where these wheels are on the bottom, though. So these have like a silver coupling, I guess, or tube, whereas on the bottom there's actually a nut, and you just basically adjust it. But again, you only want to adjust it just ever so slightly to snug it up. So we got a little bit of wobble, you can see. Ooh, that's like super tight. All right, and there we go. We just turned it just ever so slightly. Now we're going to move it back and forth just to make sure everything's good. And that's it. All done. Done. Fixed an issue that was probably plaguing this printer, which is why the last couple prints were not coming out so good. That would explain so much. And it's probably for me moving this thing around too. The other cool thing about this printer is that you have this ability. Boom. I just swapped it. Really cool. I like that feature. It's a dumb feature, but it's cool. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and turn this on and get a print going. And the other cool thing is I can use a USB drive with it. So, let's go ahead and set this up. And get this all situated. Where's Simplify? All right. So let's go ahead and share the screen, and let's see what we can go ahead and get. Let's go and I'm going to minimize this, open up a new window. Let's go to Thingiverse and see what we got here. What we can print. Ooh, that's kind of nifty. A USB to DuPont adapter. That's very interesting. All right. As I go on here, I spent hundreds of dollars on models, but I don't want to print them because I want to print them in resin. I could do the rocket, but everybody else is doing that, and I'm not a. That's awesome. I don't want to do that because everybody else is doing it. I'm not usually a follower with most stuff. These are kind of nice. I like that. That's a multi-hex one. That's a cool solar system one. Guns and knives, that's a no. You'll print that off. I've only done it once, and it was for a Tic Tac gun. Radius template. Uh, circuit maker tray extension. Probably could use one of those. Let's see. A human assassin. Ooh, Johnny Five. That would be a cool project to do. Ghostbusters Stein can holder. I don't think I got enough filaments on that. We need something smaller. Ooh, I could start printing parts for that. Oh, let's see. Let's see if there's any printer upgrades. I don't think there is. Number 3, no. That's the D2, 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 Rock Pro. Nope. Oop, Minda X. Take a look at that one really quick. I don't think I need that. I think we're good. I mean, we could print it just for the heck of it. X anti-wobble. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Nope. Look at that. I don't think it needs gantry support. That's kind of overkill for that printer, but hey, we can take a look at it. Oh, there's more. Okay. That's, I guess, that's not really needed. That's more like a personal preference thing. It's good floating by itself. It doesn't need a guider. It's alright. It's alright. Oh, there's a lot. Alright, we're going to go to page 10 and then that's it. We'll look at those other ones. Oh, it goes to page 10 anyway, so we're good. What's up, Aqua Warrior? Is that Gus, right? Alright, let's take a look at this. What does this do? It is an X-axis tensioner. This is a very strange tensioner there, bud. I don't get the purpose of this. Like, first off, that's 2 screws, and this is a 4-screw setup. Am I missing something? Right? I only see 2. Oh, nothing much. What's happening, man? All right, so that one we'll throw that one out the window because I don't really know what the heck this really does. So we'll throw that out the window. What is this? Uh, Anti-wobble. I don't know if that's necessarily needed. If you're trying to download a zip file, see, but here's the thing: like, you make this, but you don't let people know exactly what it does. Like, I guess I can click on somebody else's link and see the video, but yeah, I'm looking for something to print on the Mingda Magician X. Like, this one might be good, but I think that, again, that's overkill for this printer. Like, this printer pretty stable because of how it's set up. You don't need this. It's absolutely fine without it. Will it help? Maybe, but it's very little. I wouldn't worry about it. All right, so let's see what else we can print. That's a kind of cool filament spool holder, the IKEA thing. Corner brackets. Yeah, let's just look down here and see what we can find. I've been wanting to print something like this for a while, a turbillion. I'm probably saying that wrong, but yeah, those are something on my list, but I want to do it resin because nobody else has done it in resin as far as I know. So, what's up, Brant? How's it going, man? Just trying to finish up reviews so I can get moving on all the old stuff that I've had for literally a year that I feel like garbage that I haven't done them, and there's no real excuse that I can give for that. So yours included. But I gotta finish all these first and get them out of here before I do anything else because the wife is going to kill me if I unbox any more printers. So let's see. Oh, really? Okay. See, that makes me feel even crappier now. Because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this whole thing for you, and I never got to it. Now I just feel even worse. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's a cool case. It kind of looks like a mini Mac computer. That's nice. Hinged USB key box. Yeah, no. See, and this is the hardest thing I have for reviews is like I don't print stuff that I'm not going to use. So I, uh, I I think that's my biggest issue is like trying to show off stuff is I need to make something, but I need to make something that I'm going to utilize because if I don't, then I'm just going to end up tossing it away. Or if it is something that I'm going to use, it's that I give it to the kids. So I'll catch you later. Got to move a friend's camper super early tomorrow morning. Have a great night. All right, Gus. So you have a good one, man. Thanks for stopping in and chatting. Ooh, I can do a Supra. I should print that in resin and then show the car community. People flip their lid for it. Oh, this is why I just don't look at things like just send me files and call it a day. Let's see, Dragon Ball Broly versus Kakarot. And then the other flip side to that is I don't really do too much FDM printing anymore. I usually do resin printing. So that's why I'm trying to get all these printers done. Like there's 13 printers here. And there's another 3, I think, in the back. So spam. I always get the Russian spam, guys. I do not know why. Oh, you know what I can try? The one thing that has always failed. Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. If I have the file still. I think I do. It is the katana. I have yet to successfully print this thing. They always like fuse together or something goes wrong with them where they break into a million pieces. So let's see if I still have that. I think I do. Ah, I do. Right there. Boom. Done. Bam. Made by some crazy guy. He's a cool little guy. So we'll print this. Let's see. Do we have anything? 5% infill. I think that'll be good. That way it don't take forever. Center it. Prepare to print. I think I got to remove supports actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. I think I have auto supports enabled. And that's not going to be good to remove that. Let's see. Oh, it didn't do supports. All right, cool. Maybe I have them turned off. Either way, turning it off just to make sure. Of course you're not responding. Why would you? Okay, I think we're good. So 13 hours and how much filament? 113 grams? Wow, man. That's a long time. Jesus. If I printed that in resin, it would be like a quarter of that time. Either way, we're going to print it. See how it goes. All right. So that one's done. Let's see if we got something else in the queue that we can plug in here. I did the dragon. I don't need to do that. Let's go ahead and look. Let's see what else we have. I could do the koozie. Excuse me. Could do Steampunk Mario too. I've been resin printing too long. you know, we're not going to do that. We're going to clear all supports, and we're going to move this guy. X rotation. Yeah, that'll pick it enough. Yeah, that's definitely not going to work. Oh, that's because I have the degree at 80. That's ridiculous. It might be a little overkill, but whatever. I'm not really worried about it. That is absolutely not needed. That, that, that. All right. Maybe a little overkill, but I think we'll be okay. All right. Your browser has lost connection to your camera. Awesome. There we go. Dit is beter. Alright, I think we're done. Take a look at this and see how it looks. That's good. That'll just tear all away. What is that? 244 grams? That's not too bad. Save tool path. Do that. And I think that'll be good enough. Go ahead and start heating this up. Clean that off because I got some resin on it. We'll put a little spray on it. There we go. Yes, I just used hairspray. Really? Come on now, you were just working. There we go. Okay. So we set that print off to go. There is another print I need to take a look at that's causing me issues. I think I'm going to have to go into here to get it all situated. Add a model. What was that? I need to size that down. So we need to scale. It's 127 and 220.6.
need to unlock that. Nope, that's not right. Alright, I'm obviously doing something wrong here, so let's go back into sheet box. Go basic. That's not right. Do 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 do. That's good. Let's see. Conversations. Five by 5 by 9. We're gonna delete that. Let's go to different printers. Hmm. This is coming out all distorted now. What the hell is going on? We have to set this up. How am I going to do this? Let's see. Let's take a look at this. Here we go. Okay. So let's close that down. Let's go and open up our file. Not that one. Right, it's not going to open it because it's a profile. Creepers. Slice image import is complete. 3D preview is now being generated, which that'll take a little while. All right. While we're at that, let's go ahead and put this file into Sheet2 Box. Let's hollow it out, put some drain holes in it, and then reprint 3D objects. Oh, I need to reprint that too, so I might as well get that going. Going along pretty good so far. What is that, a two-parter? Let's go back on here. Oh yeah, okay, so that goes on top of that. So the base is good. We don't need to have this part solid then. Dang it. I need to open this up in Pro. Or can I hollow in here? I don't remember. It's been a while. Can hollow. Let's do 3mm walls. That's good. Now we need to dig some holes. Okay. Oop, that's not what I want. Cancel. Yes, I do. Nation. Okay. Oh, there you are. What is going on here? Ah, there we go. It's like I know I can cut in here somewhere. I don't want a Z cut. I want. How do I change that? Hmm. So it only cuts the Z, huh? Well, that's unfortunate. Either way, let's go ahead and bring this up. See how much that takes. We only have a little bit left. About 500 grams. I think we're gonna sign off here at about 1:30, so in about 6 minutes, and yeah, pretty much go from there. So I thank you guys all for stopping in and chit chatting. Steve, it was nice to see you again.
as I'm dying and choking on my own spit. Hi, puppers. Oh, so sorry. Did I awake you, Queen? Yeah, not even close. Oops. Not what I wanted. Oops, the daisy. I don't know why that's not doing it. All right. So what do we got? We have 192 milliliters. That's not too bad. I think that's doable.
Oh no. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to head out. And I thank you guys all for watching and sticking around. That's pretty much it. Until next time, guys. Happy printing.